Abbey Works is a health and employment hub, a 12-month pilot funded by Public Health that is coming to an end at the moment. And it came as a result of the work health and wellbeing strategy in partnership with Cambridge City Council and South Cambs District Council. You might be aware that there's a couple of other similar pilots going in Finland and also in City and South Cambs, delivered by Citizens Advice, this last one. And what Abbey Works involved was one-to-one tailored support for those not in work with a health condition, where we explored individual concerns, strengths, interests, and worked together to remove barriers to work and well-being. It was also quite important for us to create bespoke opportunities that wouldn't otherwise be available. And the delivery model was inspired by the IPS model, individual placement support model. This is our flyer. If you have any of these, or if you see any of these in a community setting, please take them down because we're not taking any more referrals. So what did we do over the last year? So we started off with a stakeholder meeting back in May with over 40 partners across the system at Cambridge Abbey Stadium, where we mapped provision, capacity, opportunities, challenges, and vision for employment, guidance, and training. And we published some of the insights and some of the things that were shared by different partners on our interim report, which I'm happy to share if anyone would like it. We were able to strengthen relationships with DWP, with Citizens Advice, with social prescribers, GPs, and other organizations involved in guidance, employment, and training. We facilitated a webinar delivered by DWP on the Universal Credit Health Journey with Q&A, which was quite well attended, and attended multiple community engagement events to promote the service. As far as working with individuals, I provided intensive personalized support to around 30 individuals, and it involved various things like digital skills support with CV writing, cover letter, interview prep, linking participants with training, apprenticeship providers, volunteering opportunities that matched their interests, helping participants map what to do to get into certain fields like mental health, nursing care, youth work, animal care. We offered cost of living guidance and support, food bank vouchers, household support fund applications. I sent job adverts that matched participants' interests. So I proactively was also searching, having the participants in mind. Linked participants with enterprise facilitators, mentors, signposted them to various different organizations and groups, helped facilitate conversations between participants and prospective employers. And we used personal budget for training and transportation to training, for instance, or for open days and things like that, to kind of unlock certain barriers to progress. So we also organized bespoke opportunities and sessions based on the profiles and needs of the participants. Some of these examples were a taste of uni, widening participation, drop-in sessions, as well as an RCE wellbeing hub in-person workshop series, and an experience of work collaboration with ARU, which I will be telling you a bit more about. So a particularly meaningful thing that we were able to provide to participants was a bespoke workshop series in collaboration with the RCE Wellbeing Hub. And we chose from their portfolio of courses that they already delivered, but we were very intentional of creating like a series that kind of took them on a journey where we would work on self-confidence, on creating routine, on how meaningful volunteering can be when you're trying to build your confidence and your transferable skills, and then finally on kind of exploring how to make work for people with a long-term condition. And the feedback was really amazing and long-lasting until now. So we had participants say that they kind of unlocked things for them. They started to get things done. They changed habits. They felt not alone. They felt confident to take part in more workshops from our CE Wellbeing Hub. They kind of felt empowered to kind of create more routine and to just, yeah, make long-lasting changes in their life. Something else that we have delivered that is happening as we speak, but this weekend, next week, was an ARU return to work pilot. This is being hosted by ARU. It's got National Civic Impact Accelerator funding, and it's being delivered by the students at the Heart of Knowledge Exchange team at ARU. So what I did was I identified participants who wanted to explore a new career path and meet professionals that were doing that. I created participant profiles focusing on their background, interests, strengths, and any reasonable adjustments. ARU did a call to staff, but I also approached specific people that they felt would be a good match to offer shadowing, experience of work, and mentoring opportunities to participants. Alongside the shadowing and experience of work, they also are delivering group employability workshops. At the end of this pilot, they are hoping to deliver a toolkit for higher education institution, as well as for organizations working with individuals who are long-term unemployed, so that it can be kind of replicated in other contexts. ARU are very keen to offer this again and to not have this be a one-off. So they would love to share their findings with members of the GET group if they would like that, and possibly collaborate with the upcoming Connect to Work scheme. And the community listening facilitator, Jennifer, wanted me to share her email if anyone wants to get in touch. So I'm going to share some numbers. Abbey Works in numbers. So we had 36 referrals, which is not a very large number, but we found that it was quite difficult to get people through the door. Of those 36 people, only 29 people engaged with Abbey Works beyond the initial chat. 18 were applying for jobs. There was over 700 touch points in around 10 months and over 150 hours of face-to-face one-to-one support, which resulted in 11 job offers. But I have to stress that not all of those job offers were accepted, and not all of the people that accepted employment are still in work. So 50% of the participants had not been in work for over 2 years, with an average of work of 2.7 years. And 100% of the participants said they felt listened to by the link worker. That's me. I'm a social prescriber link worker by background. So how did we measure impact? So we used a well-being score called MyCore, which some of you might have heard of, which stands for My Concerns and Well-being, measuring my concerns and well-being. So we asked everyone to identify 1 or 2 concerns and how they impacted them in the beginning, whereas a larger number is that it bothers them a lot. And we also asked them to measure their well-being, how well they feel in themselves. And what we're hoping is by the end of the support and by the end of the intervention that those numbers will have come down. And on average, so far, the numbers have gone down, both for the concerns and for the well-being. Lower number in well-being is actually good. So 100% of the participants agreed that the support they received was tailored to their specific concerns and circumstances. Very important for us that it was personalized and tailored. All participants said that their awareness and knowledge about opportunities, services, and training available has increased since engaging with Abbey Works, and 78% said that Abbey Works support made them feel more confident and more likely to access support in the future. which is we're very happy with. So I'm going to share a positive story about V, 30 years old, was in the process of a very complicated divorce. She's got a bachelor's degree, never really had financial independence or her own career, and she co-founded and helped the husband in his own tech business. V would like to find a job and improve her circumstances, but was struggling with motivation and mental health. V has a diagnosis of ADHD, depression, anxiety, and PTSD. So when I first met V, her main concern that she wanted help with was help navigating the job application process more confidently, and this was affecting her quite significantly. By the end of 5 months, there was a massive improvement in both well-being and how the concern impacted her. So what did we do? Some of the things that we did was interest exploration, confidence building and reassurance, signposted V to several business networking opportunities and jobs, linked V with an enterprise facilitator from Alia for coaching and interview prep, as it was a little bit outside of my realm, invited V to the RC Wellbeing Workshop series, shared information about the Access to Work scheme, signposted her to knitting and craft group because that was a big hobby of hers. And some of the improvements made and outcomes achieved was that V persevered applying for jobs and was invited for several interviews, including second rounds. She started using digital aids like apps to improve routine inspired by the RCE workshop. Reconnected with friends and family, started a knitting group with friends, which brings her a lot of joy, and realized that she would like to study psychology and support women who have been victims of abuse. So she started a psychology module at the Open University as a first step towards that goal. V was also offered a job at biotech that she accepted part-time, and at the end of first week, she was asked if she would like to join full-time. And in the meantime, has been offered yet another role at home office after several assessment stages, which has been brilliant. I'm sharing some of V's feedback and reflections at the end of our work together. V found the ability to open up about her struggles with looking for work and finding a new career direction. She found it really meaningful that it was someone that she was listened compassionately and reassured and encouraged, as well as getting practical advice. She felt celebrated. She started a new job and set new goals and directions for her future and feels like she couldn't have done it alone. I asked V what she felt she had accomplished since we started working together, and V thinks that her life completely transformed. Divorce is almost behind her, figured out a future career direction. Her sleep schedule is much better after the workshop on routine, and she improved her connections to new and old friends. Some of the insights and skills that she's gained in the last months has been the value of resilience. She attended the workshop and heard about other people's experiences, which was quite meaningful for her. She learned the importance of reaching out and is kind of reassured by the fact that support is out there. And what she's most proud of is getting her independence back, having a lot of personal agency, and she reported that she feels like a functional adult. This is some testimonials from other participants in the Abbey Works project. There is reports of feeling like meeting new people, feeling like the Abbey Hub feels like family, starting volunteering, which improved confidence, having someone to talk face to face, who gives food for thoughts, feeling positive, improved motivation, encouraging to break habits that weren't serving them. And yeah, I think it was quite, it's been quite a consistent feedback that having consistent and regular support is something that people really value. There's also been people who had degrees in other countries that weren't really recognized here, and because of their English, they were finding themselves doing cleaning, kitchen jobs. So I've worked with some of these people to kind of help use some of those skills from their higher education to use them in jobs in the UK now that their English is much better. So that's been quite appreciated. And yeah, so I'm going to share finally some learnings and future plans. So what we've learned is that 12 months is definitely not enough. It's not been until the last couple of months that we've had uh, a lot of progress and momentum building. Some of this demographic group needs a lot of hand holding and support at every stage of the way. And we found that more than 10 contacts to get people to engage and kind of feel confident enough to explore a return to employment or training was quite normal. So low confidence and poor literacy and digital skills were definitely large barriers to progress with many people. And we found that people need interventions before employability support can even start. Things quite important like housing and mental health support, debt advice, substance misuse, and just meeting basic human needs. And last but not least, people also need support post employment to ensure long-term change because some of these people have not been in work for quite some years, and it's a big change to go back into the workplace. So yes, I'm handing over to Nicky now.
Yes, thank you, Maria. So yes, thank you, Maria. The work has been amazing, and the seeing the journey and the learnings come out of it has been really, really helpful for us as an organization and kind of across the system. And we've been exploring a longer term project which will continue to help the people of Abbey move in the direction of work. But one of the big questions is kind of how and which partners are best placed to deliver which bits of it, and how we can meet some of those learnings that we've discovered in a way that is joined up across the whole system. So I would love to have chats with people that are in the GET group who might want to discuss that in more detail. The usual funding issues apply. So yeah, but yeah, happy to chat with people about that in more detail. Do you want to go on to the next slide, Maria?
Of course.
Yeah. So some of the feedback we had from our initial stakeholder event at the beginning of the project was that the voluntary sector wanted to engage more with the employer side of the system. So we, together with Mark and Jigna at CCVS and Cambridge Ahead, have been planning an event on the 25th of March, and some of you will have already had an invite, or your organizations have had an invite. And there will be a panel discussion and then a roundtable discussion with everybody in the room. And what we really want to do is get business, statutory, and voluntary sector all in the room together. And we're focusing mostly on adults, people suffering from disadvantage, and how we can get them into work in the knowledge intensive Cambridge cluster roles. So we're focusing on tech, biotech, life sciences, and that kind of Cambridge cluster work. And there's still space in the event for voluntary sector partners. We've had a few of you that are on the call have signed up, but there is space for a few. And specifically, we'd be looking for voluntary sectors that are supporting people either that are in multi-ethnicities or, working with people from global majority backgrounds, disabilities or neurodiversity, in order to bring that into the conversation that we'll be having on the day. So if you want to contact me or Jigna, if you would like to know more about that, and then we can send you over the information.
The pointer digital badges, which are very popular across Europe and particularly in America, and have become increasingly so through the 14 projects that were created by government funding and the Royal Society of Arts, who piloted the initiative, which was the idea was to bridge skills gaps and create opportunities for people. And the region of learning was the project in Cambridgeshire. and to champion digital badges. And we've been working with schools, colleges, with employers particularly, which is what I deal with a lot across Cambridgeshire and Peterborough, to encourage lots of local people to begin to explore how digital badges can evidence and give them credentials about their skills. So often somebody might have a lot of experience in a particular area, and not have a way of proving that other than saying so in a CV and saying so in an interview, but actually has got nothing to prove they've been through any kind of process to accredit that learning. So I'll come on to some of the examples of that shortly. And this is the team who you can see. And we have been working with people to find a practical way to showcase their skills and help match them with opportunities with local employers and to try and create career pathways. So these are some of the kind of badges that you can see here that have taken place. There was the Arts Ambassador and Arts Taster events, and we particularly focused on the arts at the beginning of the project, and we've gradually moved into lots of different sectors and areas. And I focus this year a lot with small to medium enterprises, a lot of social enterprises, community interest companies, charities, trying to enable them to get involved in the badging process, which has been quite successful. And we'll have a report coming out at the end of this month, beginning of April, which will showcase some of the feedback from local groups and employers, and also featuring sort of the kind of work and where people have gone with badging, how they've used it to help them with the recruitment process. So the employer pledge was what I worked on quite a bit here, which was really getting people to agree to share badges, to recognise them, because obviously it's all very well having some kind of qualification, but you want some recognition. So those that are working with us have agreed to recognise them, and lots of employers have signed a pledge saying they will look at them. At the City Council was an obvious place to start because we're hosted by the City Council. So we got some badging done with all the teams around corporate induction, learning and development, staff awards, and their people's linked to the people strategy. And basically what happened there is lots of different teams really started to put badges together for the provision. So for instance, anybody coming into the council going through the standard induction process where you have to go through a number of courses, safeguarding, a whole range of things, would get at the end of it, once they've completed it, a digital badge issued to them which they can download, because all digital badges are good in terms of putting them on LinkedIn, on social media, on CVs, and you can actually create a place to store all your badges and create a digital CV as well, with a particular place within the process. So when people get involved in badges, that becomes a possibility. The council had an ambitious people and culture strategy, and they linked the badging process to that. So you can see that that was the idea there. So all the council teams, as I say, were given different layers and levels at which to engage, to demonstrate. So there was an entry level at certain skills. For some other levels, it was about being able to demonstrate particular skills. And these are called levels, really. And they're like, I guess, the equivalent of what we'd say of different kind of stages of a qualification. But generally speaking, most people tend to use a single badge rather than have levels. But it was quite useful in some organisations. I imagine with CCVS that what the conversation has had around administration, business management, customer service, around all these kind of skills, you'll be able to kind of draw those badges down and issue them if people want to do a badge and get a qualification, as it were, an accreditation for a particular skill. They can do that and then go through, we'll either be issuing them via email or through an account on CCVS, and we've yet to determine how to do that. But over the next coming months, there will be a launch of that, and we'll give you more information as it comes along. So Anglia Ruskin have used them a great deal. The Careers Hub have used them a great deal, which was in the GrowthWorks team, which is funded through government, working in schools. We've worked with Form the Future, who've worked for us in schools using their expertise. And I've been visiting lots of employers and lots of charities organisations working in catering, organisations working in customer service, the universities, and small and medium enterprises who are working in accountancy, who work in the fields of finance, working in technology, and some of them manufacturing, to actually help their recruitment processes and to promote digital badging to help them kind of actually be able to recruit more people that they need where there are vacancies. And we use a system called Lightcast, which actually tells us what the vacancies have been in the region over a period of time by category and what the kind of skills that employers have been looking for. So we can actually help people define their badges around the kind of skills that people need in a particular sector. And so again, with CCVS, we've been looking at what does the voluntary sector need? What are common skills that people need to have to enable to get volunteering jobs, to be able to get jobs that are paid, to be able to apply in some instances for internships or for apprenticeships that might give them work and a step into the world of charities, social enterprises, community and voluntary sector organisations. So that's us and who we are. So as I've said, they're all a simple way, digital badges, of recognising particular skills and attributes, and to support individuals in their own development, but also organisationally, people adopt the organisation to work with their staff to accredit a particular skill. So that could be communication, it could be motivation, it could be digital skills themselves, innovation, problem solving, and it could be for particular qualifications that you offer as an organisation, or it could be safeguarding. So there's a whole range of things. Now, the CPCA, the Joint Authority in Cambridge, who fund a lot of the work that goes on around skills, started to use a lot of badges this year for their internships and also for their apprenticeships so that people could come along and actually do that. But the one they're launching tomorrow is a customer service excellence badge. And basically, to get that badge, which sets expectations of what good customer service is like. That's what kind of it contains. And it has some meta tags with it in the badge. And basically, it gives 6 different criteria that people have to meet and demonstrate in order to be able to say that they've done that, if you like, short module. And those can be linked to particular modules to be able to demonstrate that skill online. And then when you've ticked all the relevant boxes, it provides you with the opportunity to get the badge issued to you. And CCVS will be able to set out the criteria and the steps for the badges that they're creating, so that if you choose to use a particular badge to give to your employees or to your volunteers, you can actually then take them through the steps necessary and they can get those particular badges issued to them. So it gives people a new opportunity and a very easy and simple way for you to show that you're supporting people in the development of their skills and to help them on the journey, for some towards employability, or for some to improve and upskill because they might want to kind of develop their careers and have more opportunities to demonstrate skills that they're using every day in their roles, either as volunteers or as paid staff or as trustees, to demonstrate they've got particular skills. And I just wanted to say, they've done them in a whole range of communication skills, problem solving. As I said, the customer service one is being launched by the mayor tomorrow in Huntingdon. And they've also done lots of motivational type badges. So what we're hoping in the coming months is that we'll be able to launch through CCVS badges that you as individual organisations can access and use for your staff, for your trustees, for volunteers, so that people can get an opportunity to get digital badges, to begin to use them and to recognise them. And hopefully that'll be a really good support system, particularly for people who've been out of the workplace, women returners, people changing careers, people who are just starting, or young people that you're working with who need a start and may not have formal qualifications. So I hope that's kind of just given you an idea of what we're doing with CCVS, and we're just in the process of setting up their account with Open Badge forum so that they can actually begin to create the actual criteria And once they're written up, they'll be issued and more information will come out to you all about that. And Julian has been working in the background on all of those. So we will be obviously in touch with you about the launch of them. So I hope that's a helpful overview and just giving you some more information about what's in the pipeline.
I am standing in for Jackie from the Combined Authority to talk briefly, and I think this is a probably heads up for those of you here, about a new funding pot. So those of you who are looking for money, put your ears up, because there is £200,000 out there in a new round of funding for organisations who are providing that additional learning and skills to hard to reach organisations, hard to reach groups across Cambridgeshire. What I don't have is a presentation on this. What we will do is put the link to the page on the Community Foundation's website for this grant. As I said, there's £200,000 in the pot, so it's not huge. Organisations can bid for between £5,000 and £25,000 for projects over a year. What they're looking for is a mixture of smaller projects and larger projects. So they are going to cap the number of projects at the top end of that, so the sort of 25,000 to 4 projects or something like that, and then the rest of the money is for smaller projects. But all of those details are part of the guidance. There'll be 8 months to deliver the work. So the delivery period will be from September 2025 to April 2026. And the application process is open now and closes, I think, on the 1st of May. Very much they are after projects that demonstrate the difference that voluntary sector organisations make around helping people into learning, doing learning, into employment, or into volunteering. So it's all about how we move people on that journey from where they are towards work. It doesn't have to be all about learning and skills, but obviously that's a significant element of it. But it's also about some of those other benefits that we know that people will get and that they need to move on that journey. So that's about things like well-being. It's about some of those other needs that Nicky and Maria talked about earlier. What they're looking for is for this to prove concepts, really. So it's a bit of a pilot project to some extent. The Combined Authority are keen to fund the sector, but they need to be able to find ways to do that within the funding rules that they get given by the government on how they spend their money. So this is going to help them as well, hopefully make the case for slightly more flexible funding. It doesn't have to lead to a qualification, and there is a focus on those folks who are perhaps furthest away from employment or learning. And that could be because of geography, or it could be because of any other issue. So that is there. All of the information is up there. As I say, there's some notes on some of the reporting that you need to do as well. There are expected targets, but again, it's not hard and fast, because we know that it's not always possible. You know, no one can guarantee that 85% of the people that you talk to are going to have a successful journey, but absolutely what they're looking for are some real benefits on the individuals and that distance travelled. So yeah, closes on the 1st of May, open now. Projects will run from September until April of next year. There will be additional training and support on the reporting that CPCA and ourselves will do, and if you need any support in completing your application, then obviously contact CCVS in the normal way.
So I'm Nicola March, for those that don't know you, I think, or don't know me, sorry. I think a lot of you do know me. I'm Senior Skills and Business Relationship Manager for the Cambridgeshire and Peterborough Combined Authority, and also a project lead on numerous different projects. And I've just been in a meeting talking about one of those this morning. So for those of you that don't know, Growth Works with Skills are the part of the Cambridgeshire and Peterborough Combined Authority that deal with help employers recruiting, retention and upskilling their staff, including apprenticeships, etc. But we also take on other projects within the skills agenda. My remit is really kind of working across 6 different projects within the region, all to do with work and health and employment. So all of the work, health and support. So I'm going to be talking to you very quickly about some of those projects this morning. The first of my projects is my internships, and hopefully you've all heard about the wonderful internships. We developed a paid internship program in consultation with employers at the beginning of 2024 and launched it with the pilot in 2024. We are now coming to the end of that. We have our last starts on the program, and we've also had quite a few leavers. So I just want to share some of the highlights from that at the moment. We are currently hoping that we're going to get further funding, and I'll find out kind of mid-March whether we can run, you know, internships version 2. Which is really exciting. But so far we've had 111 on a target of 100, so that was really great. Individuals start on our internships, all paying at least minimum wage or national living wage for those that are over 21. 74% were funded in the new funding stream, which came into play in sort of like November, December time, as there wasn't 13 weeks left of the year to be able to do 13-week programs. So we've had the most go on the 74 and the 100% funded salary. Hours range from 12 to 38, and that was we looked at what the comments from the employers were saying that they wanted. They wanted some that were doing less hours and some that were doing more hours, and we did that for a 6-week program with an extra £100 a week subsidy for employers to pay for any on-board costs, etc., and anything training equipment. But the original program, which we had 37 on, was for 13 weeks, and it was 50% funded, so we only funded half their salary in between the hours of 16 to 30. So these internships are open for all participants living in Cambridgeshire. That includes Peterborough and surrounding areas, who are over the age of 16, but there is no upper age limit on our internships, and that's a very important fact, and you'll see that kind of in the figures that I'm going to show you in a second. They needed to not be in employment and training, and we had over 388 applications from individuals that wanted to do an internship. So there was a great need for it. All of the employers agreed to use alternative methods of recruitment in their recruitment and selection processes. which was really exciting and gave lots of people an opportunity to be able to enter the workplace that might not have been able to do so if they were just using a normal CV or going through the formal interview process, because not everyone kind of copes well in those situations. Over 200 employers I approached and spoke to. My team spoke to more than that as well. We had 38 that actually were agreed that could take on an intern, and 34 of them took on at least one intern. So performance, I mean, the best thing about it is that we have the ones that have ended. We've had a 90% positive destination rate, which is really unheard of. So all the research that I did before I started the internship program says that about 72% of them remain with their employer. And actually, when we looked at it, 72% exactly remained with their employer, so that was really interesting. But when we took into account other positive destinations, so such as those that went on to university or those that went on to employment with another employer doing apprenticeships or the like, it was actually 90% of them, so that we're still only tracking about 10% of those to see where they've ended up. And there was a really good mix of different organisations that took on these internships. And the original internship, the Growth Works with Skills, ran several years ago. It was mainly aimed at SMEs, but I really wanted to open it up to charity, community interest companies, the third sector, etc. And you can see there that we've been able to do that. Whilst the large amount of them are within SMEs, there is also quite a good amount of community interest companies, etc., 18%. And most interestingly for me, with regards to opening it up to individuals of all ages, 10% of them were actually over 50. So 10% of the people doing interns were over 50, and that is actually more than the 8% that were between 16 and 17. The largest amount of age group was 40%, and those are 21 to 35. So when you think of a traditional internship, this is kind of not really what you expect. But it just means that we are giving opportunities to everyone, and we're not disadvantaging everyone. Interestingly enough, when we polled the partners and host employers, 81% of them said that interns had done some sort of training whilst they're on their internship, which was really great. And 100% of them said that they would hire interns again, which is really, really positive. I'm going to touch on digital badges very quickly, because I think Julian, has been talking about digital badges this morning, but we issue digital badges as part of our internships. We have an interested to internship digital badge that goes to all individuals that express an interest or apply for an internship that are eligible. And we've issued 297. These figures are as of last Wednesday. I am fully aware that the figures for this week have grown dramatically as we've had more badges issued. And you can see there all of the different types of badges. Now, our badges are based on the most common skills required by employers and what employers are telling us are the most common skills. You can see there that innovation, motivation, digital skills, communication, problem solving are the most common skills. We also have a completion of skills internship badge, where if individuals gain all of those 5 skills, one badge of all of those 5 skills, then they get a completer badge, which is kind of the gold star that says they have all of the skills. Really importantly, tomorrow, the Mayor of Cambridgeshire and Peterborough, Dr. Nick Johnson, is releasing the new customer service excellent badge, which is really exciting. This badge, as you can see on the bottom, is blue. It's not branded in the yellow of the Growth Works with Skills, and that is because this badge is not just an internship badge. It will be open to every individual within Cambridgeshire and Peterborough, whether they are volunteering or working or doing some activity, customer service training, etc., that meets the criteria for that badge, and that's free to be awarded to any of your employees or volunteers. And it will be officially launched tomorrow. Yes, at the moment it is only available for our interns. We also have an internship completer badge for those that have, you know, fully committed to their internship. So if they complete their 13-week or 6-week placement, even if they haven't been able to collect all of the other badges, they should be able to get that badge. Also exciting brand new news that's coming tomorrow. We will be launching the new CPCA Talent Hive, which is really, really exciting. I'm not going to speak too much about it, but just a brief word. It is an innovative talent hive space that's never been done before anywhere. We are leading the way with this. It will be a space where individuals will be able to build these wonderful media profiles and digital CVs of all their badges, and employers will be able to recruit based off of the badges and skills that these employers have verified that they have, as opposed to a normal CV where we've all got, you know, communication skills, we can all work on our own initiative, etc. But it's someone else saying that they have these skills. It's a fantastic opportunity to have a really innovative space to enable diverse individuals to be able to be recruited and employees to find the talent that they need. More about that tomorrow. Okay, so moving on, I'm not going to, you know, too many spoilers. I know a lot of you want to know about Connect to Work. Connect to Work is one of the projects I was just in a meeting about. It's one of the projects that I'm working on. It's a new DWP program. We will be running it. And it is for those individuals that are much further away from the labour market. There are two methods that must be used under the Connect to Work programme: the Individual Placement Support IPS and the Supported Employment Quality Framework SEQF. They do get a bit of a mouthful. They are two very, very different programmes, and IPS is more of a lighter touch, but also for those individuals that you know, need health and help. And the Supported Employment Quality Framework, or SEQF, is more intensive. So for instance, an individual that maybe has autism that needs their advisor to go to work with them to help them do their job and settle in would be able to receive that support under the Supported Employment Quality Framework. There is eligibility and suitability. Thank you. Sorry, I've got my words then. Eligibility and suitability criteria for both of these. They must be, first of all, eligible, and then they must be suitable. So eligible participants must have a disability or a health condition, or they must be in one of the specified disadvantaged groups as shown below on the bottom of the screen there. You can see there's a wide range. It may be that we won't deliver to all of these groups. It may be that we'll deliver certain groups in certain areas, and that's based on need, and that's something that we're currently looking at our mapping of to make sure that we get the right need. So regards to the eligibility and suitability criteria, and I do apologise, there's a lot of writing on this screen. They first have to meet the basic eligibility before, you know, making sure that their employment situation is right. So they need to either be economically inactive, or they need to be at work at risk of dropping out of work, so we can do both, or self-employed but must be in work for at least 3 months before they can join the programme. There are other programmes, Work Well, that may be suitable prior to this. Then there is, you know, would they benefit from the universal support of the SEQF or the IPS? So whether they kind of fit the model and whether they would really benefit. And then finally, they've got to be motivated and they've got to be ready to work. And if they're not ready to work, then they're not suitable. It's very key. This is not an upskilling program. This is a what can you do now? And we'll be working extensively with employers to kind of find job carving and suitable jobs for these individuals. Just as a basic idea about the models of the program, you can see here there is a specific models that we need to go through with the IPS and the SEQF models. They are very set towards the fidelity model of the supported employment, and we will be judged and assessed by the DWP on these true fidelity models. That's very clear. It all starts with the client engagement and looking at what's right for the client. You know, some vocational profiling to identify and get a good plan going, again, with the client. Job matching or job carving, the employer engagement, and you know, support that's required throughout that employer engagement and on the job and off the job support. You can see there that there is several steps to the plan, and the key is that every step is carried out by the same advisor. So it's the same advisor that does that client engagement and profiling than does the on the off the job support. It is likely, with the numbers that we're looking at, we're going to need, you know, nearly 60 advisors across the county to be able to fulfill the needs that DWP is currently looking at for this programme, because the caseload size is about 20 to 25. So it's 20 for an SEQF and 25 for an IPS. It's all about, you know, agreeing together, the employer and the employee coming together and agreeing plans that work for both of them. And it really is key. It is going to be challenging, it is going to be stretching, but I think there's some really, really great work that can be done. Just one final slide around the Connect to Work. And that is, you know, the performance measures and just an idea of, you know, the flow of how the program will work. And you'll see over the right hand side, the 12 to 4 months, there's a little bit of a cycle there, because if someone falls out of work, you know, we can scoop them up and put them back in, and we can work with them for up to 12 months. It can be extended. There are some circumstances where we can extend it, and then 4 months for someone that is in work. Performance measures, really importantly, 50% of out of work participants must achieve some first earnings, so must achieve some kind of work, some kind of paid work, and whether that's a couple of hours a week, that's, you know, that is enough. And then at least 40% of them to go on to working at least 13 weeks, at least 9 hours a week for the national living wage, and then another 29% of those going on to 26 weeks of at least 18 hours a week national living wage. And for the in work support ones, those that have been in work for at least 3 months and maybe on the programme to 4 months, we need to keep 80% of them into their jobs at 26 weeks for 18 hours a week or more. My next couple of slides were kind of really about the Learning Skills Fund. And I think, Mark, you've actually covered this. So that's probably nothing for me to say there, but I just want to say that we do have the event tomorrow. If you haven't signed up already, I know it's really short notice now. Well, we'll be talking more about the digital badging and the official release of the customer service badge and that wonderful talent hive. There is an event tomorrow that you can still get tickets for. It is free. That's it from me.